Welcome back to the Slow Hustle Show. This is the second episode, and with me today I have Michelle Dickens. Michelle, welcome.
Hi, Nick. So
Thank-
excited to come join you.
Awesome. Thank you for joining me. And as most people will know by now, I don't like introducing people. So why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and why we should be listening to you?
So my name is Michelle Dickens. I am the co-founder and CEO of a company called TPN Credit Bureau, which I started 20 years ago. I was 24 years old at the time. And I embarked on a journey to collect data on every single South African tenant in the country, where they rent, how much they rent for, and how they pay their rent on a monthly basis.
Wow. I mean, this isn't one of the pre-thought of questions, but why? At 24, why? Why did you want to do that?
So I actually always knew from the age of 12 that I'd own my own business, which is weird, right? And I didn't know what the word entrepreneur was, but what I did know was that I was fiercely independent and wanted to write my own paycheck at the end of every month. And did a degree in accounting, did half my articles, bailed, went into property. A boyfriend at the time was in property, and I thought, that's for the people. I can write my own paycheck. Let me try that. But Nick, what ends up happening is I discovered that tenants don't pay their rent. And right back in the 1990s, tenants don't pay their rent. And I thought, what we really need is we need to, as an industry, be able to share this data with each other. So if I've had an experience of a delinquent tenant, how do I share that with other estate agents and landlords? And a pivotal moment, a tenant doesn't pay their rent. I go to say to them, dude, you need to pay. And actually what he's doing is he's moving out of the property from number 13 into number 14. And I thought, how do we share this? And that was the start of the journey. It was to solve a problem that I was experiencing at that point in time.
Okay, amazing. And then why don't you give us a short version of the 20 years of this business? Because I mean, let's be clear, the fact that any business lasts 20 years is astounding. The stats are staggering. Most businesses fail within the first 18 months, and that's 80% of businesses fail. So like, how did you make it 20 years, and what does the business look like now?
So in July of 1999, I decided I've got a business plan. I'm going to start this business, and it needs to be written on software technology. And I haven't got a cooking clue. I still need help to change my mouse. So I say to my mom and dad at the time, I said to my mom and dad, I need a business software development company, and then I'm going to need to fund this new business. And I get in touch with a software development company. And I had my first meeting with the CEO of this company that's just been bought by a listed entity, and I'm literally talking to a listed entity. And I said, this is the software that I want to design, and this is the purpose that I want to do it for. That's in the July. By the August, we've entered into a MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, and I've given away 50% of the business right then and there, equity into the business. They will write the software and I will sell the business into the market, and it's a 50-50 equity split. Wow. So they are my seed capital at the time. In the December, the software is finished being written. In the January of 2000, we launch it, and it takes me 5 months and 24 days to sign my first deal. And I'm not earning income. I'm still living with my mom and dad. I'm now 24 years old. And we signed our first deal. And really, signing the first deal was about, well, you have a database of delinquent tenants. Who else is your customer, and how big is the database? Well, there's no one else as a customer, and your data will be the first that we're going to load onto this, fancy new that we are developing.
Yeah.
So the first part of my journey was giving away my 50% equity, and then hitting the road and going out and selling product.
And no, go on.
No, and then it took us 2 years to break even. Wow. So we started selling, and we were selling. If there's no information on the database, there's no charge. So we need to build this thing as quickly as possible. It took us 2 years to break even, and to break even on a monthly basis, and it took 3 years to break even in terms of our overall profit and loss.
Wow.
And my partners are still my partners today.
That's where I was getting at. So there was so many questions in there. So the first thing is 2 years to break even. Was that, 3 years to break even properly? Was that completely properly profitable after 3 years? What did you do to pay yourself for 3 years?
I took a company loan. I took a loan for the first 2 years, and that needed to be repaid back into the business.
Wow.
In order for the company to break even. And I'm not going to lie, the amount was around about what I was earning when I was doing my articles. So it was, and I
Wow.
was running the business out of my second bedroom, which was I'm not going to lie again, the cottage on my parents' property. So I was a little
Great.
subsidized, and my mom was my telesales person.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff all helps. And obviously, I think you and I will both admit that we have privilege that is useful. Like my parents paid for my university degree, so I never got in debt. Immensely privileged and immensely lucky and very aware of that. But didn't stop me from being dogged and didn't stop you from going after what you wanted in spite of all those privileges. Because you could have gone and had a very cushy job and had a nice salary 20 years later, been a partner at a firm. So you took the business loan, and was that like just a bank loan? Because to confess,
Yeah,
I've never taken a loan in my life.
yeah, no, it wasn't a loan at all. So what would happen is we didn't establish TPN as a business until 2003. So what we were
Oh,
doing
wow.
was running it as part of the my other shareholders' bigger business entity, and it was
Ah,
being run through the books of the other business entity, all ring fenced, so you could see what expenses were being paid out, what income was coming in,
okay.
and they funded the business that way for us.
Okay, then on to the partnership and giving away so much of your business early on. It's really such an interesting thing because most of the time I have startup founders tell me their brilliant ideas, make me, and I refuse to sign NDAs, and then tell me that they won't give any equity away because their idea is too useful. Which I laugh at. And we've all heard the saying, you'd rather have 10% of a big pie than 100% of a small pie. Often that's actually not true. In my experience, it's just not true because the pie never gets bigger. It just fades away. So at 24, what on earth made you go, screw it, I'm just going to give away half of my company?
So I've got to be honest, Nick. I would never have been able to fund a business on my own at that
Okay.
age and get the debt funding that I needed with a software technology partner. When we developed the software, we took our business straight away onto the internet, onto the web, and we created a web-based database, which, to be honest, was a little bit ahead of its time, because when I went to market in the 2000s, and I'm saying we've got this internet-based, web-based application to bring this database to your environment, so many estate agents at the time said, but what is the internet? How do I access it? I don't even have
Yeah.
an email on me. So we created an SMS inquiry that linked to fax. You would do an inquiry via SMS, send the ID number to an SMS number, we'd process it and then fax the result back to you. And I'm going to say one other thing. Not only did I give away 50%
Yeah.
equity at the age of 24 to TPN, at the age of 25, I then met my future husband, who coincidentally worked for my other partner shareholder and is a rocket science genius, IT software architect, developer, etc. We got married, and he took, I sold him another 25%. In fairness, I sold that to him. So I'm now only indirectly 25% shareholder.
I mean, but you say only, and the truth is, and this is what's important for people to understand around this idea that I'm trying to get across of slow hustle is only 25% does mean 25% dividends paid out whenever your company pays out, plus your salary, plus the bonuses. And over 25 years, that matters. Like I'm having this debate in my head. I'm trying to formulate an argument that it's striving for that 1% that is killing most small businesses, striving to become the Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musk. We don't need more Bezoses. We need more Michelles who have built a business for 20 years that pays hundreds of people's salaries and goes on and carries on. Like that's what we should be aiming for. So I don't think owning 25% of a 20-year-old business is a bad thing. I think it's amazing.
Thanks, Nick. And the reality is, how do we make the pie bigger?
Yeah.
That's what you need to achieve. That's what the goal is. How
Yeah.
do we share a small pie? No, how do we make a bigger pie?
Yeah. And too many people get obsessed with it's my pie. Like early on, it's doesn't matter. Like I'm trying to remind people that ideas mean absolutely jack shit. If you can't earn a sale and make revenue, your business isn't a business. It's just a hobby. So I completely agree with that. Make the pie bigger, go out and sell more, do the things that make this a real business, and then worry about equity. Okay. So the next question is What is it in your business that you do that comes the least naturally to you? Like, what do you struggle with?
Admin.
Admin. Okay, and so I'm going to ask you that in then two parts. The first part is early on in your business, how did you overcome that admin issue? Because now I imagine you have lots of people to help you.
Yes. So to be honest, it's the administration. I love the sales. I love the networking. I love to be out there. I love creating. I love coming up with new ideas and passing them on and say, this is the vision. This is what I'm seeing. How do we create it? How do we develop it? But right at the beginning, it was about the admin component. And when you have a limited number of customers, it's easy to manage that. It's just as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it gets harder to then, in my in my world, to manage that administrative side of it. But to your point, you get people that are good at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something I'm only realizing now, having built businesses for 20 years, is you must spend money on the things you don't like doing. Get other
Yeah,
people to do them. Otherwise, you get dragged down and your world just becomes overwhelming because you're doing shit you don't like. And that's the easiest way to kill a business.
100%.
Okay, so this is another question that wasn't planned, but how do you actually stay engaged in a business for 20 years without falling out of love, without being bored? Like, how do you do it? It's a long time. It's more than some of my viewers have been alive.
You have to recreate the business. So when
Oh,
we started, it says, "Oh, you're a credit bureau," and that's all. No. So we have the credit bureau component, and when we started, it was simply a database of delinquent tenants. Then we said, no, we have to collect data every day, on every tenant. Sorry, every month on every tenant, how they pay. So you have to be collecting it all the time. Then we said, we're bored with we've captured the residential market. We'll move into the commercial market. Then we said, well, we've captured the property market, we'll move into the schools market. So now we do schools data. Then we looked at lease agreements and we said, what else involved in the journey of being a real estate agent could we touch? Where data becomes an important component of it. So we looked at lease agreements and we said, okay, how do we create lease agreements because it's non-competitive? So we created a whole lease pack product, which stands separate to the credit bureau product. Then you're looking at POPI right now, and we're saying, well, all businesses need to be POPI compliant. What does that mean? How do businesses get POPI compliant? They need a tool. They don't need the theory of POPI. They need the tool that helps them do it. Cool. Let's create a POPI portal for
hmm,
businesses. And each one of those we create in an affordable way that you can build once, sell twice. That's our model.
amazing.
Build once, sell twice.
Very
I
cool.
have
I
a
like
list
that.
of products in my head with not enough time to dev for them. You
Okay,
will
I love
absolutely.
that. It's insane to me that you are as passionate about firstly credit bureau stuff and secondly for 20 years. Like it's absolutely amazing to see. So the next part of the question is more personal on your leadership and business abilities is how do you keep yourself constantly evolving from day one to day 7,300? I did the math, that's 20 years. Um, like it's a difficult thing, right? Because you can't be the same CEO at 24 that you are at 44.
No, no, you can't be. So these are the things. I take my personal space as an important part of me as a person. So my running, my cycling, my sport, whatever I want to do, take the time, go and do that because that fulfills me and energizes me. Also, it allows me to think my own headspace. That's lovely. Go out, do a run, and get into your own headspace. Family time is important to me. So my family time is my family time with my kids, and I enjoy that. And then being involved in your work on top of that, it means that you're not always all consumed only on that component of your business. And then personal growth. I take the time to have those personal growth moments. If it's time that I need a coach, let's
Hmm.
go do coaching. If it's time that I need to do leadership coaching as a team, let's go do leadership coaching as a team. I love mentors. So who can I go to and talk to about where I'm stuck at the moment? As I said, I've got a wonderful business equity partners that I still have contact with that I can
Hmm.
bounce things off. And just surround yourself with people. The course that we did, Nick, surround yourself with amazing other people that you
Yeah.
can learn from.
Yeah, I like to tell people to surround themselves with people they want to be like. because we all find ourselves with friends that we've had forever, but we don't think, are these the right people for me to be around? I also like to flip the idea of you are the sum total of the five people you spend the most time with. I like to change that and say you become the five worst things of the five people you spend the most time with, because everybody's got bad traits. And I'd rather have a dude who's stubborn and ambitious than a dude who's racist and bigoted. So it's important to curate the people around you. On that point, I have been in my life historically very bad at finding mentors. So my question is, how do people find mentors?
Mentors happen in the environment that you're in. So I like to create a broad community of people that that I can talk to. And a mentor isn't someone, in my experience, that I go and say, oh, you know what, can we have this relationship? It's just someone that you find a connection with and that you can bounce stuff off. And it doesn't have to be one person, and it doesn't have to be one person for everything. I find what works for me is to have a broad range of people. And then when I'm having an accounting problem, I'm going to go to an accounting type mentor. And when I'm having a legal problem, I'm going to go to my legal mentor. It's just to have a range of people with a range of experiences. Yeah,
cool. That makes sense. Yeah, networks matter. Okay, what do you wish someone had told you when you were just starting out?
What I wish someone had told me when I was not to limit myself.
Okay, unpack that.
Yeah. So when I thought, this is my business plan, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to achieve, and when I've achieved that, that's heaven, that's where I'm going. And I guess that's you never achieve that, and don't strive for that. It's an ongoing journey, and may you never wish to achieve finality on anything.
I love that. I absolutely agree with that. And I also think it's a very South African issue, is we think very small, we think very limited. And then when we get there, we're like, oh crap, I should have done 10x what I thought I was going to do. Shit.
And it's never late to start. So you
100%.
thought you should have done 10x. That's cool. Start, go, make it happen.
Yeah. It's something I'm battling with older generations. And I mean, like people in their late 50s, 60s, they keep saying, oh, I'm at the retiring age. And I'm like, yeah, in the 1900s, you were at the retiring age. Now you're going to live for another 35 years, which is how long I've been alive. So you should build another business. And it's so difficult to get that way of thinking into people's heads. Is the best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is today.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly right.
Okay, finally, tell people where they can find you, where they can follow you, where they can buy from you. The floor is yours.
Yeah, okay. So follow me on LinkedIn. I've got a profile on LinkedIn. Connect with TPN at www.tpn.co.za, and I'm also on Twitter, Mish_TPN. You'll find me.
And Michelle is a keynote speaker, and you can go and find her online and book her.
Yay! Thanks, Nick.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, and looking forward to seeing how this does.
Appreciate it. Good luck.